Well, hello everybody, welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some orange posset, and to go with it I'm going to make some shortbread biscuits flavoured with a little bit of orange zest. You could just make the posset by itself. It is a lovely rich dessert that you don't want to eat too much of. It's very rich, but it's very simple to make and it's perfect for a summer's day. But if you want to, you can serve some shortbread biscuits with it just for an extra texture. So I'll go on to the ingredients, and for the shortbread I have 200 grams, which is 1 1/3 cups of plain flour. I have 90 grams of caster sugar, which is 7 tablespoons. I have 60 grams of ground almonds, which is about 1/3 of a cup, maybe just under, but about 1/3 of a cup. I have 200 grams of cold butter, which I've cubed, and that works out at 14 tablespoons. I have a teaspoon of vanilla extract, the zest from half an orange. And then for the posset I have 600 millilitres, which is 2.5 cups of double cream. I have 100 millilitres of orange juice, which is 1/3 of a cup plus 4 teaspoons. I have 150 grams, 3/4 of a cup of caster sugar, and I have the zest from 2 oranges. So I'm going to put the posset ingredients to one side just for a moment, and we'll make the shortbread dough first because I want to chill that in the fridge afterwards. And I'm going to do that in my trusty little immersion blender processor bowl. You can do it by hand by rubbing the butter into the dry ingredients, but it's so much quicker in this bowl. So I'll put the flour in, and then I'll put the ground almonds in as well, and the sugar, and the zest, and I'm just going to give that a quick mix around to get those ingredients mixed into each other. And that's good, like that. So then I'm going to put the butter in, and I'm simply going to pulse it until the butter's incorporated and we have a texture which is fine breadcrumbs. I'll just give it a bit of a stir to coat the butter a little bit to start off with. And then we'll pulse this until it comes into fine breadcrumbs. That looks good. So then I'm going to add in my egg. I'm going to beat the egg first, and I'm going to add that in with the vanilla extract as well. And I'm just going to process that until it starts to clump together into a dough. And that's good enough like that. We don't want to mix this too much. And I'm going to tip that out, but I'm going to tip it onto some plastic wrap because I want to wrap it up and chill it. So that's very, very soft. And I'm just going to squeeze it into a ball. And then flatten it into a disc like that, and I'm going to wrap that up and I'm going to chill that for 1 hour, and as that hour comes to an end, I'm going to preheat my oven to 190 Celsius, that's 170 Celsius with a fan, 375 Fahrenheit, and line a couple of baking trays with parchment paper. That's ready to bake the biscuits. While we're waiting for that to chill, I will go on and we'll make the posset. So to make the posset, we need to put our double cream into the saucepan, and this is a very, very quick dessert to make, although you do then have to chill it until it sets. And after putting the double cream in, we'll add in our 150 grams of caster sugar and our orange zest. Now later on you can strain out the orange zest if you want to. Some people like to leave it in, but I will strain mine out. So I'll just stir that around, and then I'm going to put that onto a low heat, and I'm going to heat it until it just comes to the boil. At that point I will strain out my orange zest and then boil it for a further 3 minutes. But you have to stir this all the time. You don't want the cream sticking to your pan. So that's almost at the boil, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour that into a jug and then put the pan back, and I'm going to pour the cream back into the pan and continue heating, but I'm going to pour it through a strainer so that the zest is captured. Oops, and try not to make too much of a mess. So that's now simmered for 3 minutes, and I'm going to pour that into the orange juice. So I'll pour the hot cream into the orange juice, and I'll give it a stir around, and it's the acidity of the orange juice which is going to help to set this into a nice thick cream, and you can see that it's already thickening up just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour that into some little containers. As I say, you don't want huge portions of this because it's a very rich dessert. So I've poured that into the containers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave those to cool down, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge to set, and it's going to take at least an hour. It could take 2 or 3 hours, and once they've set, they'll be ready to serve. Now I'm going to cover them once they've cooled down with some plastic wrap, but you could actually just cut out some plastic wrap and place it on the surface if you are really adamant that you don't want a skin to form. Personally, it doesn't matter to me at all. So I'm going to set those to one side to cool down, and then when our hour is up, we'll go on and we'll continue making our shortbread. So I've taken half of the dough out of the fridge, and I put it onto a floured work surface. I don't have my oven preheating because after I've rolled these out and shaped them, I'm going to chill them before baking. At that point I would preheat the oven to 190 Celsius, 170 Celsius with a fan, 375 Fahrenheit. So I'll roll this out, and I have to keep my work surface floured. And you can roll them to the thickness you want really, but I think about eighth to a quarter of an inch is good enough. And then I'm simply going to cut out some shapes, and although I'm cutting out with scalloped edges, during baking I may lose the scallop, but that doesn't matter. So with some rolled out, I'm going to continue to roll out the others. I'm going to chill them for 30 minutes, and during that time I will preheat my oven. Then I'm going to bake them for between 12 and 15 minutes until I can see that they're nicely baked, and I'll take them out of the oven and allow them to cool down, and then when the posset is set fully I'll come back and we'll have a taste. So the orange shortbread baked, and it's cooled down quite nicely, and the posset has set, the orange posset has set. So here's what it looks like, and the posset is now a nice thick cream like that, and the shortbread as well looks very good. So I'll have a taste of this posset. That is so delicious. It's silky smooth, nice and thick, and it has a sweet orange flavour to it. And then these shortbread And you can make these as thick or as thin as you want, basically. Crunchy and buttery, and with an orange flavour from the zest as well. So that's a very simple summertime dessert recipe, easy to make, and it just takes a little bit of time while you wait for the posset to set, basically. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to this recipe, and I'll put a link for it below the video, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.